Will this month leave for the Young Africans Leaders Initiative YALI program in Washington, D.C. in the USA. The Mandela Washington Fellows for 2017 will spend 6 weeks in a program that seeks to enhance their leadership skills. Jacqueline Mebur, Joshua Tambo, Stanley Juma Baraza and Sydney Chahonyo are currently involved in programs locally, and they're here to tell us what they do and what they expect from the YALI program. Many thanks for joining us on Morning Express. And let's begin with you, Sydney. As we speak, what are you doing in terms of youth leadership, and how did you find out about YALI?
I found out about YALI through a friend. I was referred to a friend. I joined the online platform, and from there I started taking courses, and then I was informed that there was an application for the 2017 Mandela Washington Fellowship, and that's how I applied.
Right. You must be involved in some sort of social entrepreneurship or social development, because that's mostly what YALI is about. What are you doing on the ground that has attracted that attention?
Well, I'm a cancer survivor. So I work with an organization called Hope for Cancer Kids. We try to support children who are undergoing cancer, and especially from the rural areas who cannot necessarily afford the cost of treatment. So our flagship program is the NHIF program, where we enroll them into NHIF, we raise funds and pay for them. It's about 6,000 per year per child, and then the government covers most of the costs of the chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and the rest of the treatment.
Right. How are you able to sustain? First of all, congratulations on being a cancer survivor, but how are you able to sustain that initiative?
Well, it's been a challenge because most of our money is donor funded. We have people philanthropists who give, but it's always hard to convince people to give money.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so that is what you're doing. Very great initiative with Cancer Kids. Jacqueline, you also are involved with very interesting entrepreneurial activities in the country. Talk to us about what you're doing currently.
What I do is I run an internship program at Safaricom Limited called the Technology Academy. It used to be called the Women in Technology Academy, where we used to have an all-girl internship program, but we have now expanded it to include people with disability. And the whole point of this program is to prepare young students for the market in technology and ICT industry.
Right.
Yes.
How many young people have you been able to assist through this program?
Wow, since 2013, about 500. Majority of them being young women. Yes.
All right. Stanley, you also are involved in something that benefits society directly. What are you doing?
We run a school that is in Kawangware, and basically we help needy kids around the area.
You run a school. How old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
And you run a school already?
Yes.
How are you able to sustain that?
We depend on well-wishers and donors.
All right, and that has attracted the attention of YALI. And let's speak to you, Joshua. You were raised up in Kibera slums, and one would not tell by looking at you now. Talk to us about what you're doing in the streets of Kibera.
Yeah, I founded a project in Kibera. It's called Kibera Community Empowerment Organization, and we are recycling waste and making valuable products, selling it, and providing competitive scholarships to bright needy students in the slum.
All right.
But I also co-founded another foundation, call it Sustainability Africa Foundation, that is focusing on changing the mindsets of startups, ventures, and civil society organizations from aid to trade, like building sustainability plan for their initiatives. Yeah.
What inspiration did you have for this?
My mom was very instrumental in my life. She taught me the spirit of entrepreneurship when I was a boy, and this really inspired me, seeing my community struggling to work hard in life and initiate something that can change their lives. Yeah.
Sydney, Stanley, rather, your inspiration for running a school?
Basically, where the school is, the situation there academically is one thing, and that is what inspired me.
Right.
Most people drop out of school, and mostly girls, and you know, like early pregnancies and stuff. That is what inspired me.
All right. Jacqueline, for you and starting this internship program, what was your inspiration?
Well, first of all, the inspiration was basically the numbers of women that actually are in the tech industry. When we started with Safaricom, it was only 9%. and through the internship program, we've grown to 22. But what we also do is go to also high schools and try to get girls to see that careers in technology are actually, you know, valid avenues, and to overcome the stereotype that girls can't do careers in tech. Yeah.
And then, of course, for Sydney, being a cancer survivor, it only makes sense that your plight was to reach out. But what I'm getting from all of you is you took something from your life, something you were experiencing, and you turned it into a venture that would help not only you, but others in society. And that is a social entrepreneurship. And so let's speak about Sydney. Putting this mindset into the youth that when they're looking for jobs, they can also turn their problems into ventures. But also when they're making these ventures, it should be a venture that does not just help them get money in their pocket, but help the society at large.
Yes, that is true. In fact, if we don't start making the changes as youth, no one will make them for us. And having been a cancer survivor, I just had the passion to help people out there who are going through what I went through.
Right.
Make them understand, have a navigation program where they can know this is cancer, this is what you do, this is who you go and see, this is how it is treated. So I was very passionate about that. And that's why I decided to join Hope for Cancer Kids, because I saw that the work they're doing is very good, it's very credible. Currently, we are supporting 306 children this year, as of April. But the numbers keep increasing.
All right.
Yes.
Now, you're all part of the Young African Leaders Initiative, the only 4 Kenyans who will be heading to Washington, D.C. for that. So congratulations, first of all. That is a great initiative. Jacqueline, what are you expecting to bring back from that conference?
Just as a point of correction, there are actually 60 Kenyans.
Oh, there's 60 Kenyans.
Yes, 1,000
right.
across Africa, but 60 Kenyans. Yes. So we are 4 of the 60. What I'm looking to achieve from and gain from the Mandela Washington Fellowship is actually a coherent network of people who think in the same way that I do from across Africa. As an example, from last year's fellows, we have a young lady in Kenya who's teaching girls how to code, and now has a partnership with a similar young lady in South Africa who is also teaching young girls how to code. And so we have all this collaboration happening across Africa. We have business ventures that have come up, you know, across Africa. And quite frankly, in a continent where more than half of the population is youth, I think this kind of transcontinental collaboration is what we're looking for.
Right. Stanley, did you ever think that you would be part of something like this? And what are you expecting from it?
I'm expecting a lot. Though I never dreamt of such like an opportunity, but I'm expecting a lot. Just like she said, we're expecting to network and getting our ideas out there. Yeah.
All right. How hard or how easy has it been for you as a business person in the country in terms of just that business environment and that networking environment as well?
It's not easy. Basically, talking about, for example, we running the school, because it's the school that actually has made me to come up to this point. Basically, running the school has been very difficult, because actually going out there and looking for donors, looking for people who are of the same mind has been very difficult. Yeah, and then also making sure that the society at large looks at the idea of running such like an institution that will come to benefit them. It hasn't been easy for us, because actually getting teachers and qualified teachers to come and work, and them persevering up to the moment when now things are coming to to light. It hasn't been an easy task for us.
Right, and of course, like they say, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So this could be the beginning of that light. Joshua, also a program that you run, a very beneficial program to society, so to speak. What are you expecting to bring back from the YALI conference?
Yeah, I strongly believe that meeting 1,000 young, inspired Africans is such an amazing opportunity. And I want to leverage on partnership with different personalities, and I want to build a network that can help me to scale what I'm doing in Kenya. And of
course, young people are now watching and looking up to you and wondering, I mean, when can I get such exposure for my business ideas? So let me begin with you, Sydney, in terms of where you began to get your dream and idea across to the masses.
Basically, just take it from the heart just be passionate about what you're doing. A lot of people do things for the wrong reasons because either they're going to get money or they've been forced to do it by their parents. But always follow your dreams, always follow your passions. Because if I was not, number one, had I not gone through cancer, I wouldn't be the same person I am today.
Right.
And that is what has driven me to want to make a change in the industry, which is largely ignored, especially even by government. Spending on cancer is very low. So unless I get out there and I tell my story and I shout it from the mountaintops, nobody's going to hear it. And as I said, follow your passion, because then you'll be able to go the extra mile to drive that change that you desire to achieve.
Right, of course. Jacqueline, what challenges have you experienced, especially starting the internship program in technology? Like you said, there were very few women in technology by then. What challenges did you receive?
I think the first challenge that I faced, and that was the most glaring, was the initial knee-jerk reaction of an all-girls internship program. Why? Yes, and first of all, where are the girls anyway to do this internship program? So, but from the organizational point of view, it made sense because we're trying to build diversity into our human resource, and so it makes sense to have different kind of people into the company. But of course, usually it's just the socialization of the people, where you don't see that many girls in tech, so you assume that they aren't there. So, but once we got over that initially, now we actually have a big demand for our interns, and the students who go through our program are actually being hired in very many different companies.
Right. So how can one join your program?
Oh, so the internship program is usually advertised every quarter, so January, April, every 4 months, and it will be on the Safaricom career portal. And it will be the vacancy for the Technology Academy. And it's open to anybody who is still in university, studying any course in technology, so any engineering, any IT, any computer science, between 3rd year and 5th year. Yes.
All right. Joshua, let's focus on the fact that many youth don't start businesses or any plans and projects, mostly because of the issue of capital. You grew up in Kibera slums, like I mentioned. How did you get the capital, or did you need any capital to begin the projects you're running right now?
Yeah, so one thing that most of us do not know is that we have lots of untapped resources around us. Sometimes the resource would be that person who can inspire you or who can lead you to build your venture. And it's not true that you must have a capital to start up your venture. You can start with passion, as he mentioned, that you can follow your dreams. And along the way, you will meet people who can help you build what you want to build. And basically, for myself, I would say we had very worst post-election violence in 2007. And most youths in Kibera were jobless because they destroyed the businesses and all that. The only thing that was available in Kibera by then was waste or trash. So we mobilized youth and said, why not collect this trash and sort it out, sell it to different suppliers and earn extra income? And that is how we build our organization. And today, it's one of the biggest waste collection group in Kibera, and we've educated several students from the revenues generated from trash.
Yeah. All right. And Stanley, of course, starting a school, it cannot be done on an empty pocket. How did you manage to do that in terms of capital, get it off the ground?
First of all, the idea of starting a school was inspired in me by my former primary school teacher, who helped me and who is still helping me, one Mr. Samuel Bala. And through his connections and the people he knew, that is how we were able to come up with a place. And just to add on that also, I wanted to stand out. You know, Kawangware is always known for the bad things. I wanted to stand out and tell the world that that place is not a bad place. And how would I have done that if not starting something like a school to educate these young minds who are turning into crime because of lack of employment and stuff like that. So if basically I start a school and inspire talents down there through this education system, then automatically I would have made a change.
All right. All right. And of course, you're leaders now, of course, African leaders. And with any leadership role comes a lot of responsibility. Sydney, who do you feel responsible to right now? Because I'm sure there's a lot of expectations from families of cancer patients, from the cancer patients themselves, many of them thinking you can solve their problems in a heartbeat. But in terms of your responsibility, who are you responsible to?
I think we're responsible to the general public because cancer information is very wanting out there. A lot of people don't know about cancer. So it's up to us to create that awareness, and also to the children and their families who are going through cancer, to explain to them, to take them through counseling, explain to them this is what you're going to experience, this is how it's going to be, it's probably going to cost around this much, because a lot of people don't know that. So we have to go out there and navigate them through the process of cancer. So anyone who's going through cancer, in any of their families, and the general public at large. Yes.
All right, Jacqueline, having started an all-women internship program, and Stanley also brought in the issue that he started a school because there were so many dropouts, especially women and girls. It's very exciting, first of all, to see men and young boys come out and champion the rights of women as well. But how far do you think this space has come for women in business projects like this?
Well, I'd say it's certainly better than the environment in which my parents grew up in. However, we still have a long way to go, in the sense that we still have girls who are being pulled out of school for early marriage. We still have girls who are undergoing FGM. We still have girls whose parents are choosing their career paths for them and they don't have choices around this. We still have girls who cannot attend school simply because the resources are not there. So we still have a long ways to go, and as you have rightly put, it is not just a women's voice that is required in talking about women's rights and girl issues. We definitely need the gentlemen, because we all exist in this one planet. And so as long as we can rally more voices to talk about this, I think we can definitely get there.
All right. And let's just to get some clarification. So you're part of the Mandela Washington Fellows, who will be heading over to Washington, D.C. for the Young African Leadership Initiative program. Joshua, what happens in the Mandela Washington Fellows?
We have been given orientation, and it's one of the most comprehensive program, very intensive, 6 weeks. We will have learning in different universities in US. We'll have networking events, and we'll crown it with a summit, which will bring 1,000 young Africans together. So. And I understand there's some direct opportunities for some of you. So what criteria is this for those of you who will be getting these internships? Jacqueline, maybe.
Well, the internships that go beyond the 6 weeks in the universities are basically, first of all, based on interest for those who would be able to prolong the stay in the US. And also, I do believe the organizations play a part in selecting who they would want to come and work with.
Right, all right. So as we wind up, Joshua, you brought in the issue of just what happened in Kibera during the post-election violence, the youth literally destroying all the businesses that would have made their lives better. We're just a few months away from the election, and not to be political, but what would be your word to these youth? Because we keep on propagating this message that youth need to make sure they're not used as weapons of destruction for the very same resources that they will need. Your word to them.
I strongly believe that this nation belongs to us, and if you allow politicians to use us for their own selfish gains, it's us who are going at a loss. I would encourage all youths that we remain calm and build our community. We should not allow politicians who are fighting for their own selfish gain to use us to destroy what we've worked so hard for. So youths should generally have peaceful cohesion and live with harmony with their neighbors.
Absolutely. All right, Stanley, let's have your final comments as we wind up.
We shouldn't just sit down and wait. Young leaders, young youth out there should come out of their small cocoons, stop procrastinating, and start being proactive.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Jacqueline.
Yes, I'm with Stanley on this one. We are beyond kuomba serikali. It is time for Kenyan youth to just stand up and just get it done.
Thank
because
you.
They do have the capability.
I think we're all sending the same message out there. if we don't get up, if we see a problem and we don't get up and start trying to solve it, no one will solve it. If we as young African leaders do not start to drive the change in Africa, or do not start to control the narrative, then our causes will be lost. No one will care about us. So we need to get out there and start making those changes. Don't wait for somebody else to do it.
All right, and very interesting, it says controlling our narrative is a very important point. Many thanks for speaking to us, Sydney, Jacqueline, Stanley, and Joshua, just 4 of the Mandela Washington Fellows for the year 2017. And they will be heading over to Washington, D.C. In June for the Young African Leaders Initiative, also known as YALI. But coming on to news just reaching us now, IEBC Procurement Director Lawyer Aura has been fired over what the Commission terms as delays in sourcing of ballot papers. This comes just 2 weeks after the ICT Director of the electoral body was sent home. The Wafula Chebukati-led Commission has 62 days to the general election. We shall give you more details on this developing story as and when we get them. That is news just reaching us. IEBC Procurement Director has been fired over what the Commission terms as delays in sourcing of ballot papers. This comes just 2 weeks after the ICT Director of the electoral body was sent home. The Wafula Chebukati-led Commission has 62 days to the general election, and we'll be giving you more details on this developing story when and as we get them. So that is the news coming to us just now. And just a quick reminder of our question of the day this morning. We're interacting you on the nurses' strike, and we're asking you, do you believe that there's goodwill from either the medics or the government to end the nurses' strike? Do you believe that there is goodwill there? Just to sample your views here. And we have Kimindi here saying there seems to be no lack of commitment even from the medics themselves. Daniel here says this both the national and local government have no goodwill to resolve the nurses' strike. If they had, they would have done it a long time ago. And we have Alphonse here who says this looks just like the same issue as the doctors' strike. The Council of Governors and county governments should have learned from this. Let's stop these knee-jerk reactions. Many thanks for interacting with us on our question of the day. Do keep that conversation going even as we bring you hourly updates of the nurses' strike in the country. It is now 47 minutes past the hour, and that's why we wind up this edition of Morning Express. Thank you for staying with us for the last 4 hours. I'll see you tomorrow.